Hey everybody, Morgan Godwin here, still new to YouTube. Remember, carry Narcan, save lives, don't use alone, check your drugs if you can. So I've been out of prison for 3 years, but only out of BAOP custody for 2, because my last year of my prison sentence was spent on community confinement. When you look at my resume, you would not be able to tell that. I have found success after prison quite quickly, and I want to give you some tips on how. So first off, things I'm doing now, I work as a research associate at the Health and Justice Action Lab. They're doing cool stuff. I'm going to put the link in the description. I'm a freelance journalist. I did that on accident. I just started writing opinions and submitting them places and they would publish them. And now I've moved into some more reported stuff, which can be found in my portfolio, in my link tree, if you like to read. I am a full-time student still. I'm about to graduate. I've been going to school since the week of my release. So I'm still an undergrad. I'm a college senior for being technical. I was appointed to my state's Alcohol and Drug Policy Commission. I was appointed by the Oregon Health Authority to the Measure 110 Oversight and Accountability Council, and that's after I volunteered on Yes on Measure 110 for a year, the campaign that decriminalized drug possession and took our cannabis tax revenue and put it into a drug treatment fund. So now I'm one of 21 Oregonians that gets to determine how that fund is distributed. So it's pretty cool. A lot of things are happening. I'm studying for the LSAT, hoping to go to law school next year. I'm represented by a literary agent. I'm writing a book. I'm doing drug policy research. You know what? I can't deny it. I'm successful. And it hasn't been that long. So, and when I sat in prison, I never imagined my life would look like this because all I could pull off of was my memories. I could modify them slightly, but my memories weren't great. I'd been addicted for years. I was cast into poverty when I was 16, right? Raised middle class, but then became incredibly poor when my mom's gambling addiction got really bad. She embezzled, was fired, couldn't find a new job. So, I've seen both privilege and adversity, and I think that's a unique strength. So, how did I get here? Well, I went to prison and I lost all shame. Rock bottom, there's nowhere lower to go. I had to share a toilet with 2 roommates. I have no embarrassment anymore. You have to talk about bodily functions, all the things. Some friends in prison helped me get over my fear of public speaking, specifically Holly. And I just want to call you out and thank you for that because she made me dress up as Eminem and lip sync during a lip sync battle. Now, I couldn't even graduate high school because I couldn't pass an impromptu speech because I was so terrified of public speaking. So modest, I refused to do the swimming unit of high school PE because it meant I had to put a bathing suit on and take the hoodie off that was my armor protecting my body from the world. And prison really helped me get over those things. And then there was such need, right? My 1 year of community college made me one of the most educated people in the prison. I actually heard questions like, how many states are in the United States of America? Is it 51 or 52? How many holes do women have in female anatomy? These are real questions because so many of these women were so underprivileged that they did not attend school beyond the 6th or 7th grade, had very low reading and writing levels. So I would tutor some, but one of my favorite things to do was hold seminars, specifically like grown-up sex ed, voting rights, okay? I was in prison with people who had never seen anyone vote because their mom and their dad had always been on parole in California, ineligible to vote. The concept of democracy was foreign to them. They were used to being oppressed by the American government, so prison was nothing new. Meanwhile, middle-class me, who'd always been raised to be politically active, was outraged by the things that I saw. So I tried to teach classes on civic engagement, but because it was federal prison, women were releasing to states all over the country. So I had to figure out the voting laws in each state and communicate that to them. Then transgender women were transported to Dublin out of the men's prisons, which they had been being housed. And it was all he, she, and that thing. And that broke my heart. I'm a second generation queer. I was raised by lesbians. I'm a sperm donor baby. And so I was also able to hold a seminar on pronouns, respectful pronouns. She, her, hers. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's it. She identifies as a she. She is a transgender woman. You call her she. It is offensive. And people listened. And a guard came up to me afterwards and said, we had to go to a staff training on this exact same thing, and you did a better job than they did. And I really appreciated that. So necessity made me pick up the microphone because I had things to say that I thought were important, both with family planning, STIs, HIV, using respectful pronouns, civic engagement, right? Changing the system that was hurting us. And I carried that with me after prison. I had built some confidence. I had got my first thing published thanks to Debbie Campbell at the Marshall Project. I was a published writer from prison. And so I had a little bit of confidence when I got out, and I had no shame. So I just started making meetings with everyone that I could. Anyone who would sit down and give me 5 minutes of their time, I went to that meeting. I got all the business cards. I sent all the emails. DMs open, I'm sliding in because I have something to say. I saw some things that should never happen, to any living soul. And I want to fix them. And so I just use that rage, because to me, injustice feels like rage. And I let it fuel my fire. And I didn't let my fear hold me back. But I don't know how to do public speaking. But I don't know how to do this task. But I'm not qualified to sit in a room full of doctors and lawyers and speak on my expert opinion that was gained just because I went to prison. I didn't hang out with people that made me feel comfortable. I hung out with people I want to emulate. I stayed in spaces where I was underqualified, and I learned from the experts around me. Now I am constantly uncomfortable. I am constantly afraid. I currently navigate between some spheres: legislators, journalists, attorneys, and physicians. I don't belong there. Why am I there? Why am I in any of those spaces, right? Imposter syndrome creeps in. But you know why I'm there? Now, I took an alternative path, but oh boy, in the 10 years I lost to addiction in prison, did I learn a lot. Probably a lot more than some people earn in their PhDs. So I value my knowledge that I gained, no matter how I gained it. I do not settle, and I do not sit in my comfort zone, because growth does not occur in comfort. I am constantly fumbling through life, figuring things out, taking on tasks I barely know how to do. But you know what I'm not afraid to do? Ask for help. I will ask anyone for anything. Fortune favors the bold. Okay. How did I get on the Alcohol and Drug Policy Commission? I asked. I will ask for anything. If you give me an email address or a phone call, I will tell you what I want and need. I will also try to give you something in return. What can I offer you? We have this thing in America where we're so afraid to ask for help or feel stupid or misspeak. And I have that too. But I put myself in spaces where people are so much more educated than me and have so much more experience that I say some dumb stuff sometimes. And I show up again the next day because I have a mission. I have a fight. I have a reason. I have a list of names of my dead friends, my dead mom, overdose deaths that were preventable, horrible injustices I saw in federal prison and in jail, committed in the name of justice, torture on behalf of the American government, the same American government I once swore to defend with my life when I joined the United States Air Force. Now, how twisted is that? So I learned that the things I was taught as a child are not actually as they are, but I will spend the rest of my life trying to create the America that America purports to be. And to do that, I sit with discomfort. I'm uncomfortable all the time. I'm fumbling through things I don't know how to do, learning from others, asking for help, and reaching. Not settling, reaching. Putting myself up here in situations that make me feel uncomfortable. And eventually I become comfortable there and I move to the next step. And this is what gives me purpose in life and satisfaction. My recovery isn't something I think about often because I no longer wish to be asleep. I don't crave oblivion. I'm loving life, making a real difference in my community and in this world. And it fills my heart and soul. So don't be shy. What's the worst that happens? They say no? Let them say no. Find another email. Find another DM that's open. Keep trying. Keep showing up. And eventually, you're going to get through. This is an unprecedented time in America. People are listening. The compassion is there. We must seize on it.